No, I don't think Chihiro used Leon's handbook.
Why not?
Because Leon's handbook was broken.
Oh. Well, then, yeah, I guess that'd be pretty impossible, huh?
Although, for the first time, Hiro came up with an idea that wasn't completely stupid. It was just wrong, because he didn't know it was broken.
I am struck silent by how quickly you gave up.
Plus, isn't there a regulation against using someone else's handbook?
Actually, the rule states that loaning your handbook is prohibited. It says nothing about borrowing one. In other words, you could borrow a dead person's handbook all you want, and you'd be safe.
Yup, yup, yup. Hit the nail square on the noggin.
Of course, if it were broken, that wouldn't make any sense anyway.
So then, she must have hacked hers, like I said. She used her ultimate programmer skills and...
You can't fix an e-handbook. The instant you open one up, a security buzzer starts blaring.
So, if she didn't
Good
use
to know.
Leon's handbook, and she didn't modify her own handbook...
Maybe Mr. Naegi's initial assumption is just wrong?
It seems like there's no way she could have got into the boys' locker room. So I guess so.
Okay then, I vote for Byakuya.
Is that it then? Chihiro was killed in the girls' locker room, and Byakuya's the one who did it? Really? But still, I don't know what else I can do.
Hold on a second.
Ah, thank you, Kyoko.
I agree with you, though. I think you're on the right track.
What the? You finally decide to open your mouth and that's what you've got to say? There's no way she could get in the boys' locker room, right? So...
Why are you so sure she couldn't get in? There's still one other way she could have gained access.
What?
What are you talking about? What other way is there?
Well, to explain that, why don't we take a little break from the trial? I'd like you all to come see something.
Are we allowed to do that?
Wait. Just what do you think you're doing?
Don't worry. This'll make the whole trial more exciting. I'm sure that thought must please you.
Huh? It'll make things more exciting? Well, all right then. I declare an official
guess we can.
trial recess.
That was remarkably easy to manipulate him into doing.
For real?
Now then, what is it you want to show us? It better not be boring or I'll be very unhappy.
Oh, I have no doubt it'll meet your lofty expectations. So, shall we go?
I guess we're leaving the trial. So, before I even knew what was happening, the class trial had been put on hold. We headed off with Kyoko in the lead. And where she took us was... Ah. The girls' locker room.
Girls' locker room?
Yes, thank you, Makoto.
We've already searched this place top to bottom. What are you trying to pull, Missy?
Missy? What?
I'd like you to examine the victim's body one more time.
You want to check it again?
Be sure to examine the entire body very carefully. Take your time.
Wait a
Examine her
minute.
carefully? Like using our hands?
Hifumi.
No way!
We all should have done this a long time ago. Autopsies are important here.
It's probably best if I don't run my hands all over a girl's dead body.
It's not that I'm creeped out or anything, it's just... based on religious grounds, you know?
What?
Very well. I'll do it.
Thank you.
But you're a girl. You shouldn't have to touch a dead body. Just let one of the boys do it.
Somebody touch it already.
No, it's okay. I think Chihiro would rather have a girl examine her. So just leave this to me.
Thank you.
Sakura. What is this? Some kind of secret girl-on-girl action? Is that what you two are about? That's not it at all. Stop screwing around.
Stop reacting to her.
Okay.
She's just doing it
Here
for the
I go.
attention.
I'm sorry, Chihiro. Please excuse the intrusion.
Putting her hands together in a brief prayer, Sakura then began to quietly examine her body.
Be sure to check her entire body, and I believe we will solve this particular mystery.
I'm getting a sense that I know
Her
what this is about to
entire
happen.
body? I know you say that, but... What? This is...
Oh... I'll admit I didn't see this coming. She's saying out.
What is it?
Not possible. It's not possible.
And then she turned into Kaiba. Sakura's eyes were staring wildly at Chihiro's lifeless form. Her massive frame trembled.
This girl is
what?
a boy.
Dun dun dun!
Ah, I see. So she was actually a he. Interesting. Thank you for confirming this fact.
A plot point that depends entirely upon rigid Japanese gender norms.
What?
You're joking, right?
I wouldn't joke about this.
Ben, it's really true?
Chihiro was a guy? Oh, what? You guys didn't know? Heck, I knew that right off the bat.
Well, you're the mastermind, so, yeah.
Chihiro Fujisaki was totally a guy.
He was a cross-dresser? Oh, I'm really on fire! I wish I had killed him!
So that's what Kyoko wanted to show everyone, huh? Interesting. Yes, that certainly does make things much more exciting. Now let's ride this wave of excitement back to the courtroom and get back to the trial.
Alright, back to it, armed with knowledge.
I do apologize for keeping you waiting. Now then, let's resume the class trial. We've all just learned of the shocking revelation that Chihiro was actually a boy. Let's pick up from there.
Yes, well, I don't know his reason for hiding it, but the fact is, Chihiro was not a girl, but a boy.
Why does Mondo have, like, Egyptian pharaoh makeup on? Is that normal for Japanese biker gangs? To think that Chihiro was actually a guy. The thought had never even crossed my mind.
And because the victim was male, he would have had no problem gaining access to the boys' locker room.
Assuming his handbook did, in fact, list his gender as male, then yes, that would be true.
Of course his handbook said he was a boy. He dressed like a girl, but he was a boy through and through.
So then, there should be no issue with Makoto's initial assertion. The victim was killed in the boys' locker room, and was then later moved to the girls' locker room. And the killer could have easily used Sayaka or Junko's handbook to get into the girls' locker room.
So Chihiro really was killed in the boys' locker room?
I still don't understand the motive for moving the body, but yes, that does seem plausible.
That's one of the easiest parts of this entire thing to understand. Why are you having so much trouble thinking about why they would have moved the body?
Well, I must admit, I did find it rather
They
odd.
did something that would have made it harder for us to discover them. Why would they do that?
I knew he felt a little off. There was a certain incongruity to his female
Oh,
body.
come on! You did not.
This is the most titillating situation!
So now everything has been connected. All the mysteries have finally become clear.
Okay, well, connected or clear or whatever. We still think you're the killer, remember?
Yes, because for some reason you maneuvered us into thinking that.
Very interesting. This has become very interesting indeed.
I know that's not what his pin is, but it looks just like some nativity set that my parents had when I was a kid. And it's like almost Christmas when I'm recording this, so I guess that's what's on my mind.
Ah, he's off in his own little world.
What about you, Makoto? After everything we've learned, do you still think Byakuya's the killer?
Well, without a doubt, Byakuya is the one that made Chihiro's death look like Genocide Jack did it. But I
Ellipses!
think he might not actually be the killer after all.
What? But aren't you the one who accused him in the first place?
He just seems to be too easygoing about all this. Like he's enjoying us solving the mystery. The way he's acting, it makes it seem like it doesn't have anything to do with him.
And you think that might be because it doesn't have anything to do with him?
Plus, the evidence he left behind was a little too... how can I put it? Overt. He consciously chose to use the extension cord, knowing it could connect him to the murder. At least, that's how I see it. And Byakuya, when you found out the murder took place in the boys' locker room, it seemed to rattle you. And then again when you found out Chihiro was actually a guy. If you really were the killer, that stuff wouldn't have had any effect on you.
Well, I mean, I can see the first one, but the second one really shouldn't have bothered him that much. Oh, I guess that they weren't in the boys' locker room, so we probably would have figured that out.
So
Never
that's your
mind.
thinking, huh? Well, it bothers me that you don't have more concrete reasons, but it's fine. I guess I'll mark it as correct for the time being.
Mark it as correct?
He's right. I am not the culprit. I just happened to come across the corpse in the girls' locker room and decided to alter it.
Are you fucking with us right now?
Why in the world would you do that?
No, I am not effing with you right now.
Oh, come
I'm
on, now
telling
you
you
get
the
squeamish.
Well, I find it very hard to believe.
Go ahead. Find it very hard to believe. You're free to be executed along with the rest of us.
If you hadn't messed with the crime scene, that wouldn't even be in question right now.
If you're really telling the truth, then why? Why do you do that to his body?
My reasons hardly matter right now. Uncovering the culprit is much more important, wouldn't you say? Now then, if it wasn't me, who was it?
Well, I don't think I can say for sure without talking about it a little more.
We're seriously gonna
Oh,
keep
no.
going? We're all
My
good,
laundry
aren't
is
we?
done.
I thought it was clear Byakuya did it.
Didn't know my volume was on my phone. I'll be right back. And we're back.
No, I'm with Makoto. If there's any doubt whatsoever, we need to explore every possibility. Because if we're wrong, we all die here.
That's true. Very well then. I'm with you too.
Damn straight. Count me in.
Do you not have a mind of your own?
Of course I do. What am I, an ant or something?
Anyway, let's discuss this all as a group one more time. We still have time to make our decision.
Yeah, how long do we have to do this?
That's very true.
Our lives are all on the line.
Excellent. Then shall we resume our game of hide and seek?
Just go sit in timeout or something. But if Byakuya didn't do it, then who's the real killer? Who murdered Chihiro? There's one thing we can be sure we know about the killer. It's a guy. Since the crime scene was in the boys' locker room, you would need a boys' handbook to get in. Since Leon's handbook is apparently broken, the killer would have had to use their own. In other words, it had to have been a guy. But that's still not enough. I need to find some more clues. Make your argument.
Isn't there a single clue that might lead us to who did it?
I don't remember what Celeste's account is. Hang on. The night before the murder, before nighttime, Chihiro was in the warehouse. Oh, right. Duffel bag, okay.
Well, clues are one thing, but did nobody get a look at the killer?
I'm sure if someone saw the killer, they would have said something by now.
Perhaps someone saw the victim at some point. Even that might be enough for now.
Yeah. All we need right now is any kind of new info.
It's over.
Oh, I missed.
It's all over. You want to know who saw the victim? The killer. And only the killer.
No, someone else did.
No, it's wrong. I believe someone else did see the victim before he was murdered. What do you think, Celeste?
Now that you mention it, yes. I did see him.
Huh? Really?
Oh, but I suppose only Makoto knows about this. The rest of you had no idea, did you? That is why you're all making such ugly noises.
You didn't think to share this piece of information before now?
Whatever! Just hurry up and tell us!
It was last night, right before nighttime. I saw Chihiro in the dormitory warehouse. I saw him stuffing a track jacket into a duffel bag, and then, I assume, he headed off to exercise.
A track jacket and a duffel bag? But we didn't find anything like that at the murder scene.
It seems likely that the culprit destroyed them to get rid of any evidence.
How?
And that is when he said something that struck me as rather odd.
Well, I'd better get going. I'm kind of in a hurry.
Chihiro told me he was in a hurry. But why would he be in a hurry? Only if someone were waiting for him, I should think.
So, Mr. Fujisaki was on his way to meet with someone, and then they were going to work out together?
But Hina and I had invited him to exercise with us plenty of times, and he always declined.
Probably because he was afraid you'd find out the secret he was hiding, right?
Which means that conversely, he must have trusted whoever he was meeting with very much. Enough so that he was willing to risk his secret being revealed.
What a marvelous friendship!
The point is, whoever he met up with is the culprit, right? So we just gotta figure out who it was.
But knowing what we know, I can't even guess.
No. You already have what you need to make the connection.
Huh?
You know who the killer is.
Seriously?
Who is it? Who's the killer?
Think back to the track jacket and duffel bag the killer disposed of. Focus on the details of these items, and it should become obvious who was waiting for him.
Are you sure about that? You really think we can figure out who did it based on 2 pieces of evidence that we don't have?
What? You want to track down some fingerprints or something?
Why would you think we wanted to do that?
Even if we had the equipment for that, we wouldn't know how to use it.
As was noted, the evidence is already gone. There's nothing to get fingerprints from.
It's not hard to use fingerprinting kits. You just sprinkle some dust on and see what happens.
Maybe, but we can make certain inferences if we just take the time to talk it out.
Easy for you to say, but fine. Celeste, did you notice anything special about the bag or jacket?
The bag was just a normal duffel bag from the warehouse. All the bags in there are the same, so I can't imagine what would make that one special.
Well, if I remember right, there was a decent variety of tracksuits to choose from. Do you think there might be some connection between the culprit and Chihiro's jacket?
Perhaps. Let's explore that and talk a bit more about the jacket he took.
Does Chihiro's jacket really hold some clue about the killer? Somehow, it's really hard to believe. I guess I'm just gonna have to look here for a minute, I don't know. Celeste's account.
First of all, we know where Chihiro was headed.
Let's just
He was
listen and see
on
if we
his
can
way
figure
to
this
go
out.
exercise.
It's not a
So
lie.
next we have to ask, why did he choose the specific tracksuit that he did?
What do you mean, the specific tracksuit?
I got it! He picked that tracksuit because it matched the one the culprit was wearing.
That's a good
So,
point.
what you're saying is, the killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as him? My tracksuit is black.
Wait a minute.
I don't even have a tracksuit. Cause exercising sucks.
We've got to go around again.
I have a white tracksuit personally. I got it from the warehouse, if you must know.
Did any of that really help us get any closer to figuring out who the culprit is?
I think we need to absorb a
No
statement.
way. Not a chance.
You heard him, right? What he just said without even realizing it? First of all,
This is gonna be tricky because I'm not exactly sure how I'm supposed to shoot
He
this
was on his
information.
way to go exercise.
But I think I know what I need here.
So next we have to ask, why did he choose the specific tracksuit that he did?
What do you mean, the specific tracksuit?
I got it! He picked that tracksuit because it matched the one the culprit was wearing.
So, what you're saying is,
Don't really want to
the killer was
believe
wearing
this.
the same blue tracksuit as him? My tracksuit is black.
Ah, I'm pushing all the wrong buttons.
I don't even
I
have
missed.
a tracksuit.
How do I speed it up?
Cause exercising sucks.
I have a
Can't
white
remember how to
tracksuit
speed this up.
personally. I got it from the warehouse, if you must know.
Did any of that really
How do I speed it up? There we go.
help us get any closer to figure
No way. Not a chance.
You heard him, right?
First of all, we know he was on his way to go. So next week, why did he choose?
What do you mean?
Chipmunk version.
It matched the one. So,
The killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as him? My tracksuit is black.
Ah, wrong button again. Okay, that didn't work. Crap.
shoot.
First of
I
all,
know
we
what I
where
need to do
Chihiro was
here.
headed.
I just don't know how to do it.
On-
The Celeste account specifically mentioned the color. Yes.
On his way to go exercise. So next we have
I may have made this more complicated than I need to.
Why did he choose the specific?
What do you mean? I got it. It matched the one.
So, what you're saying is, the killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit?
There we go.
No, that's wrong.
I don't want to believe this, but I suppose this is what's going on here.
Hold on a second, Mondo. What did you just say?
Huh? What'd I say?
When Celeste testified a few minutes ago, she said...
I saw him stuffing a track jacket into a duffel bag. And then, I assume, he headed off to exercise.
She never said anything about the jacket's color. So why did you say Chihiro's blue tracksuit?
Dun dun dun!
What are you... You just...
Hey, Celeste, what color was Chihiro's tracksuit?
As a matter of fact, it was blue?
And before we began the trial, did you tell anyone that?
The only one I told about any of this was you.
Then, Mondo, how did you know what color Chihiro's tracksuit was?
Because I just... I'm sure he saw the clothes at some point in the investigation.
Yeah, I forgot that they're all buddy-buddy now.
No, that can't be it. The bag and clothes were surely disposed of by the time we began our investigation.
Then the only reason he could have known what color the tracksuit was is if he saw Cherry with it before he died. That's the only possibility.
Cherry? Are you talking about Chihiro?
It's kind of a stretch for a nickname.
So, how about it? Did you see the tracksuit or didn't you?
Just by chance. I just happened to see it last night. He walked past me, and he was carrying the tracksuit in his hands.
No, that can't be it either. According to Celeste's testimony,
She stuffed the jacket into her bag in a hurry. It was almost like she was trying to hide it. And just like that, she was gone.
when Celeste noticed it, Chihiro made a point of making sure the jacket was completely in the bag. If you just ran into him briefly, you couldn't possibly have seen what color the tracksuit was.
It would appear you dug your own grave.
Perhaps. But you handed him the shovel, didn't you? That's why you said what you did. Focus on the tracksuit and it'll be obvious who he met with? What a bunch of nonsense.
Ah, now I understand. It was all one big bluff, wasn't it? Your true intention was to draw a slip of the tongue from the culprit. That's why you said you knew who did it. To put them on edge.
That's right. However, Mondo was my target all along. I had my suspicions about him from the very beginning.
So why don't you ever tell us your suspicions instead of waiting for their dramatic reveal?
But why? What made you so suspicious?
That's a good question.
Because I hate him. No, I like Mondo. The way he talked. Ellipses
There
of
was
joy.
a certain turning point that tipped me off. Maybe you didn't notice it, Mondo, but you tend to refer to men and women differently. You only call guys dude. For girls, it's chick. And after he was killed, you happen to refer to him as dude.
Yeah. Again, I'll admit, I didn't notice that.
Once I picked up on that, it occurred to me that Mondo knew something we didn't.
You notice such a tiny detail?
Are you a witch? She's a witch! You're positively frightful!
I'm not a bitch.
No, I'm not the frightful one. Not nearly as frightful as someone capable of murdering a friend.
Mondo, was it really you? Did you really kill Chihiro?
I didn't kill anyone!
Oh boy.
You've been all over me, judging everything I say. putting words in my mouth. What gives you the right to treat me like a goddamn criminal?
Yeah, he would never do something like that. This is a false accusation.
It's true. My reasoning on that is pretty shaky.
That was fast.
Well, this does present us with a problem. It seems we are all out of leads.
My time has nearly come.
What is it with the voice change on Hifumi?
That's what my little ghost friend is telling me.
What little ghost friend? What?
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Hifumi, weren't you telling me you found some evidence?
Really? What kind of evidence?
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it here calmly, it might not be all that relevant.
Jeez, does your confidence just get up and walk away? It's fine, man. Just tell us.
If you really insist, then, here it is.
What do you have there?
It happens to be an e-handbook. I found it laying on the ground, so I scooped it up.
You found it on the ground, right? Then it must belong to the Chihiros.
We know Chihiro's handbook was missing from the scene of the crime, right?
For a fact.
For a fact indeed. I was totally sure I'd found it.
Then it must hold some clue about the culprit, right?
Well, that's what I was hoping. But it's busted. It won't even turn on.
These e-handbooks are less durable than advertised.
I imagine the culprit broke it to get rid of any evidence after the murder.
That's odd. I didn't think the handbooks were quite so fragile.
Ugh. I'm saying things Byakuya says.
You're right. They're not. They're totally waterproof and shock resistant. It would take an awful lot to break one.
And yet, this one does appear to be broken, as is Leon's, sitting useless in the main hall. For all your confidence, that is a remarkably high failure rate.
Do you think there might be some kind of mystery in there somewhere? How, precisely, did the handbooks get broken?
How did the handbook break? There's only one possible explanation. Can't hack it. Hacking it would be exploiting a bug, so hitting its weak point.
You
Or
already told us
massive
before that
damage.
the handbook has one weak point, didn't you?
Oh, that's right, he did tell us that.
You remember that?
No, but Makoto did.
Sure, maybe I let that slip, but I never told anyone what the weak point actually was.
But if the handbook is supposed to never break, and two of them broke in quick succession,
Then we can only assume that someone's figured out its weakness. You know what the weakness is, right, Monokuma? So, what is it?
You're asking me?
I think it's a necessary piece of information if you want this to be a fair trial.
But if I tell you, and someone else decides to copy it, that would be very not good.
Just tell us already. Why would we want to break our own handbooks?
Oh well, I have a weakness for pushy demands. But you're sure you won't follow their example? Then allow me to make a special announcement. The weak point of my cutting-edge e-handbook is... when it's exposed to high temperatures for too long, it will suffer a meltdown and totally break!
Interesting.
I flippin' knew it!
You knew it?
Yeah, because I found the handbook laying on the floor of the sauna.
Interesting.
The temperature in the
Oh,
sauna
no.
can reach over 200 degrees.
I'm figuring
Strange
things out.
how you don't get burnt, huh? It's because as your sweat evaporates, it creates a cooling layer of air around your skin. If the hot air of the sauna were somehow pushed directly onto your skin, you'd definitely get fried.
I've never been in an actual sauna, so I don't know if that's true or not.
That layer of air would get blown away. That's why you may feel a burning when you move around. So when you're in a sauna, make sure to keep nice and still.
Interesting. I learned one new fact today.
That is a mere trifling speck of knowledge.
Anyway, If you found the victim's handbook in the
I'm
sauna,
getting so distracted by Monokuma's trivia minute.
then the killer must have been purposely trying to raise its temperature in order to break it.
Meaning the culprit somehow knew its weakness.
But how'd they find out? Monokuma said he didn't tell anyone, right?
Indeed. Quite the mystery.
What if they found out by accident?
What do you mean by accident?
What if the killer took their own handbook into the sauna, not knowing its weakness, and it broke? They'd realize it was broken, of course, and it wouldn't be hard to figure out why. And once they had Chihiro's handbook, they knew they had an easy way to dispose of it.
I won't say it's not possible, but who would have done something like that? I don't know of anyone who took their handbook into the sauna.
I might know someone who did.
Exactly.
Whoa! Seriously?
I think the one who may have taken their handbook into the sauna was...
Really, it could only have been one person. Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen, although we kind of already know the answer. Ta-da!
Here's my answer. Mondo, your handbook got broken in the sauna, didn't it?
What?
Why? Why do you keep accusing him?
Mondo and Taka had an endurance contest in the sauna not too long ago, remember? And for the contest, Mondo just so happened to keep his school uniform on. But little did he realize, he'd also left his handbook in one of his uniform pockets. And when it was all over, Mondo discovered that taking your handbook into the sauna could easily destroy it.
Dun dun dun!
No, wait, hold on. You've got it all wrong. He would never kill. I don't accept this. Show me the proof. The actual solid proof.
I mean, I don't want to believe it either, but I found something that proves it beyond a shadow of a doubt. Showdown time!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine.
No, it doesn't!
No, it's wrong!
That was really easy.
Mondo, the handbook you have right now, is it really yours?
The fuck is that supposed to mean?
It's a really obvious question, Mondo.
The broken handbook that was in the main hall, isn't that one actually yours?
What the heck are you talking about?
What I mean is, I think Mondo swapped his handbook out for one that actually works. I think he took Leon's handbook and replaced it with his own. After all, Monokuma said himself that Leon's handbook never should have broken.
That's right! The punishment it suffered wasn't nearly enough to destroy it.
So then, the broken handbook in the main hall is actually Mondo's, which would mean that the handbook Mondo has right now is actually Leon's, yes?
But doesn't that violate the school regulation that says loaning out your handbook is prohibited?
Well, here's how I look at it. There is a rule about loaning your handbook to another student, but if they're dead, they're not a student. It's kind of a gray area, I admit. But no worries. If anything, it just makes things more interesting. As such, I decree that exchanging handbooks with a corpse is not a violation of the rules.
Well, Mondo, if I'm wrong about this, you're welcome to say so. I'm happy to admit I made a mistake, but...
Son of a bitch. What's wrong, bro? Come on, tell him he's wrong. You are wrong. You have to be wrong. Everything you just said is wrong. You made it all up.
It's not true! That's impossible!
Okay, then why don't we look back on this case one more time, from the beginning? That way, everything will become clear, and we'll all see if I was right or wrong.
Comic book time. Alright, what was the button to get a clue? No. don't remember what the button was. Oh wait, I have to click on that, don't I? Celeste saw Chihiro in the warehouse with a duffel bag, and... okay. Chihiro had a tracksuit in the duffel bag. Something that everyone has you need to get into the locker rooms. Handbooks. And then Chihiro went into... actually, I feel like I should probably use that one now that I see it. Boys' locker room. Weapon. Killer hit Chihiro with a weight. But it didn't have blood on it yet, because Chihiro hasn't been hit in the comic. Is there a non-bloody weight? Yes. Then... blood splattered onto the poster. And the killer switched around the poster. Oh, hang on. This is before they leave the room. And the killer moved to the girls' locker room. The fact that the picture is there makes me think that maybe I need to use a different handbook picture. I just have a feeling that you can't use pictures that actually show up in the comic. I think that's supposed to be a clue. The killer took something from the other locker room and switched it. Poster. And then, Byakuya, whose hair is somewhat longer in this picture. Byakuya brought an extension cord. And he used the extension cord to disguise what happened. Hang on, 1 second. Yeah, he brought the extension cord. Oh, right, and then he wrote Bloodlust. I thought that was Byakuya's face for a second, but he's touching Chihiro's face. And the killer went to the sauna, where they hurled their handbook. Dun dun dun. Alright, here we go.
First, let's take a look back to before the incident. Last night, Celeste saw Chihiro in the warehouse, correct? At the time, she was apparently stuffing something into a duffel bag. That something was a blue tracksuit. You can confirm this, right, Celeste? With bag in hand, Chihiro headed out, even though it was officially nighttime. She made her way to the locker room, specifically the boys' locker room. But how could the victim, who is apparently a girl, access the boys' locker room?
That's not it. I must have to use this one after all. Let's just try that. That's very weird.
Exactly what happened. With bag in hand, she made her way to. But how could the victim?
There we go. It's very arbitrary.
Simple, because she was really a he, which is why he was able to use his own e-handbook to gain entrance to the boys' locker room. Once inside, he met with someone there. And the person he met was the one who killed him. It seems likely that the killer grabbed the nearby dumbbell, approached the unsuspecting Chihiro, and attacked him. And that's where the bloodstains on the poster and carpeting in the boys' locker room came from. It was likely in the heat of the moment. The body was arranged, but the murder itself felt unplanned. Which is why the killer hurried to try and hide the act. First, pulling up the bloodstained carpet, then removing the bloody poster, and finally carrying the corpse into the girls' locker room. A girl's handbook was necessary to get into the locker room, of course, but this alone doesn't prove that the killer was necessarily a girl. After all, Sayaka and Junko's handbooks had been placed in the main hall. Using one of those, a boy could get into the girls' locker room without much problem. And that's exactly how the killer did it. With the carpet and the poster they brought with them, they got to work. They changed the layout of the boys' and girls' locker room in what you might call a crime scene switch.
You could, but why would you give it an official name like that?
That could have been the end of things, but no. Byakuya discovered the body and decided to intervene in the situation, making things even more complicated. So, after stumbling on the crime scene, he went and grabbed the extension cord from the library, and then he got to work.
Which begs the question to me of why the heck he was wandering around the girls' locker room in the middle of the night.
He used the cord to string up Chihiro's lifeless body. Then, using the victim's own blood, he left a grisly message there at the scene of the crime. He wanted to create the illusion that Genocide Jack was responsible for the slaughter. And around the same time that Byakuya was putting together this facade, the killer, having already disposed of Chihiro's bag and other belongings, arrived at the sauna. There, they planned to destroy the last piece of evidence, Chihiro's handbook.
Woo!
And just as the killer expected, the steamy sauna was enough to ruin the electronic gadget. Somehow, the killer knew that the handbook couldn't stand up to the heat of the sauna. And the reason they knew that is because the sauna had already wrecked their own handbook. And that's how it all played out.
Mondo!
Isn't that right, Mondo Arata?
Wait! No! This can't be right! Where's your evidence? Yeah! Where's your evidence? You need evidence! You need proof! Without any proof, you can't pin any of this on him!
Evidence that Mondo is the killer? That already revealed itself earlier in the trial. All I have to do is check that one item of his, and everything will become clear. A new element has been added to bullet time battles. Yes. Let's talk a little bit about fever time and nega time. During a bullet time battle, if you press the R1 button, fever time will activate, and the tempo will be forced to the max. At this point, even if you push the buttons at random, you won't miss. So you can push X square, however you want to destroy the opponent's verbal assault. Ellipses. But this only lasts until your focus gauge runs out, so make the best possible use of your time. Of course, it wouldn't be fair if only you got access to special time, right? So we've also prepared something called nega time that your opponent can use. If the opponent activates nega time during the bullet time battle, your tempo marker will disappear, making it quite a bit tougher to hit the buttons in rhythm. If you were to activate fever time at this point, no, never mind, I'm sure nothing would happen. I don't even know what I was worried about! Unsurprisingly, if your action difficulty is set to gentle, your opponent won't use nega time. Well then, good luck, and have fun. I guess we're in a battle.
Show me some evidence! You're wrong! I won't listen! I refute you!
What? Why did you say square in the tutorial, you confused me, game?
I won't listen!
I knew it was triangle, but I kept hitting square because the game was saying that. Oh, mega time.
You're wrong.
Wait, hang on, here we go.
Listen. I refute you.
It just makes it easier on me if I do this at the same time.
Show me some evidence. I won't listen. You're corrupt. I refuse to vote. I refute you. False. You're corrupt. Show me some evidence. I won't listen.
Final strike.
Show me some evidence.
This should prove it.
Ta-da!
If my thinking so far is right, Mondo must have replaced his broken handbook with Leon's. In which case, we can just check each of our handbooks right now. Once we do that, we'll...
We don't gotta do that.
Huh?
Yeah. I did it. I killed him.
Dun dun dun.